What's going on, everybody, and welcome to the Other Side of the Firewall podcast, where we talk about the latest and greatest of cybersecurity news, as well as we highlight those movers and shakers and glass ceiling breakers, those people of color who've made it to the other side of the proverbial firewall. My name is Ryan Williams, and as always, I'm joined by Shannon
What's up? What's up?
and LeVon Maynard.
Welcome to the show.
What is going on? So, welcome to what should be Tuesday's episode. I don't remember the episode count, so don't judge me. Definitely tune in for the rest of this week. So Monday and Tuesday are topics, Wednesday's discussion. Friday, we talk about everything else. So definitely tune in for that episode. Then we're going to go on our summer break. So you will not see us again until June 27th will be our next episode. So definitely like, share, subscribe, all that good stuff. Hit the bell. So when we do pop back up, you will see us. And then let your friends know about us. So with that being said, I will turn it over to Shannon for this week's topic.
All right. So this, excuse me. So this topic is actually from spacenews.com. It's written by Sandra Irwin, and it's called Space Force Rolls Out Cybersecurity Standards for Commercial Providers of Satellite Services, right? So what this is, right, is companies can now pass a cybersecurity evaluation that's conducted by a third party that'll be pre-approved, so they'll no longer require individual evaluations for each contract. So what it is pretty much kind of like a trusted agent list, right? It's kind of what I equate it to, right? So like you have these companies that are that'll work with the Space Systems Command, and so what they do is they have this process, and they assess the cybersecurity of commercial satellite operators that do business with the Defense Department, right? So they call this the Infrastructure Asset Pre-Approval Program, or IAPRE. And what it is the commercial suppliers, they get an evaluation, right? So before, what they used to do is they used to just fill out this form or whatnot that had all these questions and whatnot. They're trying to forego that, and so they have a third party come in and assess them to say, yeah, you're good, you're validated for what we think is required for you to do business with us, and then they just go on from there, right? So they say, okay, you're good, we'll keep doing contracts with you, however it may be, whether it be on a monthly basis, quarterly, annually, 5 years, or whatever it may be, right? Because I know there are some instances where when it comes to space things, there are things that are done monthly, right? So they're gonna make it a little bit easier for them to do this. But yeah, so something else they also mentioned in this article is the Space Force is adding cyber warfare units, right? Space Force is adding these squadrons of cyber specialists to support military units, operate communications, surveillance, and navigation satellites. And the person that's in charge of it, so I don't know if you guys remember or not, but it's Full-Bird Colonel Roy Rockwell now. I don't know if you guys remember, but he was the commander of our sister service when we all worked in Virginia. Yeah, so Roy Rockwell, he's actually out here where I'm at now. And he is the Space Delta 6 commander. So under the Space Force, they have like these different deltas with numbers for the missions that they do, but he's the Delta 6 commander. And he actually spoke at a Space Force Association event where he was talking about ground systems using satellites and things like that, and how they're under threat from cyber attacks. So he is a person I know, like, because he was a NOS commander out here at the 561st, I know that he knows what he's talking about when it comes to cybersecurity stuff, right? So it's not like they just grab somebody that was just doing whatever, right? Like one of these officers, like he's got experience, he's been in the game, had skin in the game, you know what I'm saying? But yeah, LeVon, what's your thoughts on this, man?
Yeah, I think it's pretty interesting. Obviously, the satellite services are going to be it's starting to blow up. Obviously, we have like Starlink and some other things, Viasat and some other satellite providers that are out there that not only commercially being used, but also by the government. But it's good that they're kind of fast tracking some of these, kind of pre-proven some of these services, so that the government can get spun up, or any command or whatever can be spun up pretty quickly and get these get the connectivity stood up. But it's I think it's pretty cool. I mean, the satellite's kind of the somewhat of the future, I suppose, of some of the technology nowadays, especially obviously the DoD, they use a lot of what they call like intermittent or disconnected environments, where they have to connect the services where they're in a remote, maybe in the desert somewhere, or some other
austere
environments. Yeah, right. So it's like it's kind of important that they have that connectivity and be able to spin it up pretty quickly, and having those kind of fast track cybersecurity approvals will kind of help to move that along. But yeah, it's like it's cyber, with the satellite system is kind of new to me too. I'm curious at some of the uh, technology they use to try to security satellite systems and satellite services. And obviously, I know there's probably a lot of encryption going on and some other things. Maybe I don't know what else they can use, like certain time of day that connectivity can be established, or like I don't know what kind of protocols they can use to lock them down. But it's kind of really interesting technology, and I'm really interested in learning more about it myself. But I'll turn it over to you, Ryan. What do you think about this topic?
Yeah, I found it very interesting. Like to see the Space Force mature and kind of do its own thing and kind of churn out products pretty quickly. Because they're able to focus on these areas, right? Like space, the domain of space, and cybersecurity. So I thought that's pretty cool. And then it's seeing old faces doing new things in the Air Force. That's also pretty awesome. Um, yeah, I think it's a good initiative. I think it'll speed up the process because it's all about like the more you belabor the process, the harder it is to get people to comply because it's like, well, I just want to get the product out, right? So if you can streamline the process, this can and save people money. It makes them more apt to secure their stuff, to spend that money, to bring a good product into the constellation or what have you. I would not be surprised if this is just one of many new initiatives that will streamline the process and make things a little bit faster. We saw when Russia and the Ukraine situation popped off and Starlink got involved, how quickly they were attacked and then were able to recover from said attack. I think they said it was one line of code stopped an entire cyber attack from like what I would perceive to be Russia's best, right? It only took one line of code. So the capability is definitely there. I'm glad to see these initiatives take place. Like my next one is, I think they called it like the, oh man, what was it called? It was like, not the shield, but it's like the net or something like that. I can't remember. But when they first came on board as a service, they were talking about cleaning up all of the junk that's out there in space. Because it's hard to see the adversary coming with satellite type weaponry or what have you, because you could just bash a satellite to another satellite. That's an attack, right? Or we can shoot a projectile, is what they saw Russia doing. They can fire a projectile from one of their satellites and destroy another satellite, but you can't see it because there's millions of pieces of junk up there, like Wally. Like
Yeah.
when you watch the animated movie Wally, it's just stuff up there. So one of their initiatives was to clean it up. Like they're trying to build devices that can actually pull that stuff out of orbit and either bring it down or push it further away to get it out of the way. So it's cool. It's cool to see that they have a focus and that they're actually getting stuff done. So I would love to see what comes next out of this. So well, without further ado,
so I would just like to see that they actually stay up with it, right? So like one of the things I would really hope they do is they stay on top of it, right? So even though you're hiring a third party to come out and do this stuff for you, you have to hope they're doing it on a regular interval
right,
as well, right? So like it's only as good as often as you verify, right? Because if you fall out
right,
of practice, the companies are going to realize that they're going to be like, oh, they're supposed to look at us every 6 months, but we know they only come once a year, and it's always the same month. So it's just we
right.
can wait a little while and push that off. I hope that's not what's going to happen, but
Yeah. Well, to be a smaller, more versatile service, right? They're not as, I would assume, I'm not Space Force, but I would assume that they can uh, keep up with this only because they don't have as much on their plate right now. Like they're not trying to do everything at once.
well,
But I don't know. They may be trying to do everything at once, like.
so
But this seems pretty cheap. So
I hear you. So I do work for Space Force, right? So like even though I'm a contractor, I do work in Space Force, and they are trying to do everything at once. Like
okay, I got you.
they're trying to do a lot all at one time. Like they got a lot of money thrown at them, and they want to spend it, right? And they have been spending it. But again, it's one of those things where remember they're kind of inheriting a lot of stuff from the other branches as well from
Right,
what they did too, right? They're not necessarily standing all up at once, which is good, right? Because you kind of have a starting point, right? You're not
right.
creating the wheel, but some of the stuff they do. It gets a little weird because then you have, Army used to do space this way, right? Air Force did it this way, Navy did it this way.
Oh,
So
right. Yeah, you're trying
kind
to
of
do joint. Like,
exactly
what's our process? Like, how do we
right.
get this done?
What is the Space
Um,
Force process at that point, right? Like who
yeah,
who makes it? But yeah,
pioneers, man,
yeah,
pioneers.
I guess.
So we'll see. Like, what is it? Because I met an airman who came in the year he was born the year I came in. Right, that's how old I'm getting. So I was thinking like, what about when he is where I'm at now? So that'd be like 2043. Let's see what Space Force looks like. Like they might have a lunar base by then. Who knows? Like that might be up there. But I guess more to come. More to see about this. We'll definitely stay posted. And see how this evolves over time. Definitely tune in Monday, Tuesday for our topics, Wednesday discussion. So that's tomorrow's episode, be our discussion. And then Friday's everything else. So we don't talk cyber, we talk about movies, books, TV shows, all that good stuff. So definitely tune in for that. Hit up all of our socials. They all go by our name. And then you can hit me up personally. I'm at RyRy Security Guy. That's RYRY Security Guy. I am on LinkedIn, Twitter, TikTok, and Clubhouse. And you, LeVon?
Yes, sir. You can hit me up on the Twitters at LeVon Maynard.
There it is. Stay safe, stay secure.
You take care.